Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Cheers, Mother Hen! I see you. It's good to have you here. Alice, you too. You said hi to Jane. I don't see Jane, but you see her. So hi, Jane. Whatever. Welcome. It is Daily Dish time, and I'm so delighted that you decided to be here on a Monday and spend some time. Hi, there she is. Yes. Jocelyn, Linda, Kathy, all nice to have you here. You know, we got a couple of things going on. We always do, don't we? But did you know the Hot Melt 30 is on its way? Who's ready to do it again with me? I'm going to do it. I'm so excited. Lizzie, hello. Michelle, nice to have you. Jocelyn. Yes, the Hot Melt 30. It is happening in September. Well, it's going to be happening next Monday night. We're going to be doing a webinar. And I'm going to really hammer it. I want to see massive participation in this because this is kind of the key right here. This is the thing that says it's not just 7 days. It's really a lifestyle. And I know we hear this all the time, but until we embrace it, we can't make it happen. And so this is critical. This is really important stuff. Tanya, good to have you here. Julie, Lizzie, lovely to see you. And so I'm pretty excited about it. I would like you to go get signed up. Is that okay to say? Margot, hello. Hot Melt 30's hot stuff. Look at Tanya's little fire in the city right there on her comment. It's real easy. Go to savingdata.com/30, THIRTY, 30. Spell it out. Get your seat now. Send a reminder to your phone. Get it on your calendar. This is the way that we can learn what we can do to become the very best that we can be. Because part of, our identity is wrapped up, honestly, in all the stuff that we do. And sometimes we just need a little push into the right direction. So I'm excited about it, and I'm glad to be doing it again. September has 30 days, so we're going to take advantage of that and do our Hot Melt 30 accordingly. How'd you do, by the way, last week on the sprint? I hope to see lots of results in there. Go get them put in our Hot Melt Sprint group and let us know how you did. Really important. And the Hot Melt 30 recipes, they're so good, aren't they, Nancy? They really are good. I have to shout out to my daughter. She's pretty good at those recipes. Let's see, more. What else can I tell you? Have you been getting your emails on Crave Water? I'm telling you about this stuff. It's flying out the door. Our TikTok people love it, but so do you. So if you're getting low, go ahead and get it because it takes them a while to make it. And we're watching them go out the door. And I want to make sure that you get your Crave Water. Crave Water is basically L-glutamine with a taste of lemonade. Hello. And I'll tell you what, if we can have something refreshing and tasty that also smacks down cravings, I mean, what more can a girl ask for, right? Go find it and watch me make it at savingdinner.com/crave water. That's where you're going to find our Crave Water. Okay. I want you to know about that. Hello there, Doris. I'm glad you're here. Deborah, you too. I'm glad you're here. The other thing is we have right now, this is just, I don't know. Are we crazy? You tell me. But we have that's not supposed to be there. That's Mark Lincoln's towel. We have a fun thing going on, and it is our Name Your Price sale. That's it. It's a Name Your Price sale. We have do you know how many digital products we have? After 23 years of doing this. And as a matter of fact, I just put a post this weekend. I could not believe it. It's almost 20 years. It's going to be next month is when it came out. but almost 20 years for the first Saving Dinner book. Happy anniversary. 20 years ago. Wow. My mom was my first editor. I always say that. She was my first editor. She really helped me on that. And I had so many comments. I've got that book. I still cook from that book. I couldn't believe it. I was so thrilled. And I was really touched by everybody. It's on my personal page. I should probably share it on the Saving Dinner page. But how cool is that? That is so cool. Why am I telling you that? Because I'm telling you, is speaking of digital products, that's where the birth of all the Saving Dinner books were, from our digital products, from our menu mailer way back in the day. And I just want to make sure that you know about all of these glorious products that we still have them. And we're rolling them all out, and you get to name your own price. Isn't that so much fun? You get to name your own price. Lizzie, we still have menu mailers. We just call it Dinner Answers, but we still have all of that stuff. We've got our freezer menus. We've got all kinds of stuff, and it's all available to you. Go to savingdinner.com/show. I think you're going to have fun with this. It's a name your price. You don't. So for example, the One Pot ebooks series that we have with all the you cook with one thing, like a skillet or a whatever. Anyway, that is usually $37. Well, in the name your price thing, anything goes. So go check it out. I'm not gonna ruin it for you. Hello, lovelies. Hello, Debbie. Good to have you here. So I'm kind of pleased about that. The other thing is always free shipping for our friends who we say thank you, by the way, who spend $300 in our shop. When you do that, we're happy to ship free. If you live in the lower 48, we're going to ship it to you free and say thank you, thank you, thank you. Because, whatever I can do to help you on your journey or your health journey, whatever I can do to help you to become the vibrant woman that you want to be, it's my pleasure. And that is one way that we can say thank you to you. So thank you for that. The other thing is our, let's see, the last thing. Oh, it's our Etsy, our little Etsy store. It's cute. There's so much fun swag there, y'all. You got to go check it out. We have mindful mugs there. We have all kinds of stuff. savingdinner.com/Etsy. That's where we put everything. So fun. All right, today, did you enjoy last week's shows? I hope you did. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, we have a good quote. Quote of the week. If you want to increase your success rate, double your failure rate. I don't like this quote, but I like it. You know what I mean? Because it's the truth. If you don't try, you don't get, and you'll never fail because you've never tried. But, failure is just a part of success as well. Isn't it the truth? So last week, we were all about priorities. Do you remember that? We talked about priorities and how we put them together and all of that. And one of the things that just came streaming into my consciousness as I was thinking about this is, the thing when it comes to priorities is our priorities always line up with what our identity is, or at least what we think our identity is, right? Let's talk about that. Debbie, I'm so sorry I missed the carb cutter special. Happy there's more. Oh, we can always fit you in. Just pop an email to support@savingdinner.com. We'll fix you up. You guys, I'm such a softie. I'm like, yeah, you want that? Sure, no problem. I'll help you out. Just, if there's something that you missed, always just email us and say, hey, we're softies that way. Hi, Sue. So let's talk about identity here, because identity is the thing that's going to shape your priorities. Identity sometimes can get in the way of a self-perception that's loony, because, we all do that. We see ourselves in a certain way, and it's just not necessarily the case. And the other thing is that I've noticed that our self-perception gets warped. It gets warped by childhood trauma. Let's go with that. We all have it, by the way. Nobody's immune. If you were raised by humans, you're going to have some, Unfortunately, some people get more than others, and we're not here to compare, but we're here to understand and to at least have some empathy for the fact that this is just the truth. This is how it all works out. This is how it irons out, right? So I love this quote, this Alan Watts quote. This is a great. Check this out. Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. Isn't that the truth? It's true, because sometimes there's just this thing that we just don't quite have a grasp on who we are, and we see ourselves in a much different light than other people see us. And we're trying to, always weigh and measure and figure out. And when you remember how I've always said everything's figure outable, because everything is figure outable, that includes your identity. And that includes a desire to shape your identity and maybe shift it. We all have the ability to do that. We're not stuck. We're not trees. We can uproot ourselves from, an identity that we unfortunately might have, and we can shapeshift a little bit, and we can just write new stories, and we can start telling ourselves something different. And I've got some unusual things and some ideas, especially if you're feeling stuck and you think your current perception of yourself is you're just saying, yeah, well, this is what I think about myself, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have to be that way. And we have the opportunity to change things, right? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And all this week, we are going to be talking about identity and how that infuses itself into the way we express our lives, the way we live our lives. And I just want to make sure that we have the opportunity and the raw materials, if you will, to build the type of identity that we want, the type of identity that's going to help us live our most vibrant life. That's it. Because if we have that, then we have everything that we need at our fingertips to do just that. So let's talk about this, because especially if you're feeling a little bit stuck, I've got some ideas for you. Number one is a narrative therapy. We can write our own life story. Have you ever thought about that? We can write our life story. But here's the twist. You write it once it happens, then rewrite it with the outcomes that you wished had happened instead. In other words, you don't have to be stuck with what you think that you're stuck with. We can write a different story, because what this does is it helps you to shift your perspective on the past, and it opens up new possibilities for the future. Now, we all know that we can't rewrite our histories, right? In the fact that this is, this is what happened and blah, blah, blah. But we can always kind of manipulate them a little bit so that we're not walking around with the burden of our past. And instead, we're seeing things in a slightly different light, and we're seeing things from the place of possibility. Does that make sense? I love that, because oftentimes, I've had people actually say things like, well, this is, they'll say something about, well, I was fired from that job, and they have a perception of themselves because they were fired from that job. And that perception it was a one-time incident. They learned from it, they grew from it, but they walk around with the scar from it. And our identities don't have to be all about the scar. It can be about the experience and what we learned from it. This is why we oftentimes talk about our experience files, because our experience files are the lessons we can extrapolate from these bad situations. We don't have to relive it over and over again. We can become, because of this situation, better. We're not the poster child for failure, right? I want to put that out right there, right then and there. Number two is we can also adopt an alter ego. Now, love her, hate her, be indifferent about her, whatever. Beyonce. So Beyonce, who, I've never bought any Beyonce music, probably never will, and not a huge, great fan of her. I'm a great fan of how she is a curator of her own talent. She really is. And what she does is when she's on stage, she calls herself Sasha Fierce, which I absolutely love, because she turns on this completely different persona so that she can go out and just perform the heck out of her stuff. Now I've never seen her on stage. I've seen snippets. I've seen her perform. And she's fantastic. And that is her persona doing all of that work, right? And so I had to Beyonce for this. But if she were to do it in her Beyonce-ness, she doesn't have that's not part of who she is. She has to turn on this special skill so that she can light it all up. And you know what? Honestly, can I just tell you, we all have that ability. When I go out onto the pickleball court, I remind myself that I am a warrior. And that like today, and I'm sitting here in a sweaty sports bra, y'all. You can see the stain of sweat on my shirt. I wash my face and just this is all I have time to do. And I will take a shower after this, I promise you. But when I'm out there and it's sweaty and what do you think I'm concentrating on? It's hot, it's sweaty, I'm exhausted. I've already drank 40 ounces of electrolytes and hot milk mix and crave water. I've already done all of that. It's our last game. And I have to remind myself that if I'm going to step into a winning game and I want to do this right, and I'm competitive and I'm going to do all of this, I have to think of myself not in Leanne's exhausted. Leanne wants to sit down. Leanne wants to get into the shade. Leanne's done with this. It's been 2 hours. I have to think of myself in a completely different way. I'm a warrior. And warriors don't give up. Warriors don't throw in the towel. Warriors go forward. And that's what I see. I see the ball. I see what I'm doing. I'm watching my partner. And I'm setting myself up for the battle ahead. If I concentrated on the thing and focused on the thing the way I'm feeling right there at that time, I would just be a puddle on the floor, right? They'd be mopping the floor up with me. So adopting this alter ego, you can do it. You can do it. If you're going to do something, do it well. And sometimes that means that you have to create an alter ego to do it. Number 3 is your random skill acquisition. Here's something that we can all do, and that's to learn something that's outside of our comfort zone. A long time ago, I think I was in my 20s, I heard this, and so I tried it. I learned how to juggle because I heard it was really good for that side of the brain. I don't know if I could do it again. I think I'd have to practice a little, but I learned how to juggle, and it was like, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just having these things go up is really good for your brain. Or doing something that's completely counterintuitive to who you are and what you're about. One of the things that I was thinking I would like to do is maybe take up a little bit of woodworking. There's some things that I want to do in this kitchen. And then I thought, nah, I'm not going to do it. This is Mark's thing, so he could let him do it. You do the woodworking. But why not? I've seen women on YouTube and Facebook reels and all of that stuff. Have you seen them? They're like, oh, my husband's been deployed. And so I'm going to go out. I'm going to redo our bathroom. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm watching YouTube videos. I mean, hats off. Changing your identity into something that's a new skill, risking it all, and just doing it. Who's done that? Have you ever tried that? Wow. It's a big deal. Number 4 is to travel solo. And I can tell you about this. It changes you when you travel solo. I did it internationally. I did it to France. And it was such an interesting experience. I was very conscious of everything around me. A single woman alone. I had everything where I needed it. I had my credit card and my passport, completely on my person. It just pushed me way out of my comfort zone. I'd never been to the movies by myself, but as a solo traveling, man, it changed the way I thought about myself. It changed the way that I perceived things. It changed my whole trajectory of the way I wanted to go about doing things, and it made me love travel even more. So this leads to a little bit of a shift too of self-perception, because I saw myself as a whole lot stronger than I thought I was, and a whole lot more determined that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it all the way. And yeah, I'm going to do this by myself. You can do that too, by the way. Another thing that you can do is to change your look. Have you ever I've done this, I can't even, a breakup meant a haircut. I'd have long hair down to, my boobs or whatever. And I was just like, man, I'm done with this dude. Let's go, And sometimes I've cut my own hair or I'd go get a haircut or whatever. Just cut it. Change your identity. Change the way you feel. Shift it all around. Put a little color in there or dye it purple. I don't care, whatever. But sometimes we need to do that and shift that, change that look just a little bit. Somebody even had the idea of maybe, a temporary tattoo. I did that with some henna one time on my hand. You should have seen the looks I got from people. It was so funny. All right. The other thing is a silent retreat. I don't know if I could do that. I'd like to talk too much. But how about that? What if you went on a silent retreat? What if you just sat with yourself? What if you meditated a whole bunch? What if you just had the moments that you need with yourself and re-identify yourself and see what you are? So what this does is it takes us out of having other people to rely on for conversation and digital madness or whatever. It forces us inward. And forcing ourselves inward is not a bad thing because now we can address some stuff. Maybe we can look at some things. Maybe we could say, this is for me and this is not. This is how I want to see the world. This is how I don't want to see the world. Yep. Oh my gosh. Did you see what Alice just said? She said, 2 days ago, I walked into the bathroom, grabbed some scissors and cut 8 inches off your hair. We need a picture, Alice. We need a picture. Good for you. Doesn't it feel good? I mean, I've wanted to do that. Let me just tell you. There's also an idea of swapping roles with someone. Have you ever, what is that? They had that show. I can't remember. It was like this hidden boss thing where he was like the CEO of some big chain of whatever, I don't know, like a restaurant, ended up getting a busboy job or a dishwasher job, and his perspective changed and how he saw himself changed. And all of these different things happened. And that's because when your perspective always is going to change when you see it from somebody else's shoes. We're not really good at doing that until we have to do it, right? It's really important. It keeps us humble. Keeps us humble. And number 8 is random acts of kindness. You hear oftentimes somebody buying the coffee for the people behind them in the car or, at the Starbucks or whatever. But I read this really great thing is why not? Here's a random act of kindness that would really go far. There are people out there, kids out there who have unpaid lunch debt at school. And the reason it's not paid is because they can't afford it. What if you called a school and said, how many kids do you have that need their debt paid? Maybe what if you did something like that? That's the generosity of our hearts doing something. And it shifts us from just being a passive observer to being somebody who does something, actually does move the needle. And it makes us see, the frivolity of some of our spending instead of the intentional spending and investing in ourselves and in our worth and what we can do for others. Power of a dollar, Number 9 is a digital detox. Who's done that? I have, because I've had to. I've been in the wilderness in Canada and no self signal. But you know what this does? It takes us out of the doom scrolling. It takes us out of trying to see ourselves on comparing ourselves with somebody else. Because what else is social media half the time, right? We have all of that going on. I want to do things that are positive. I want to do things that are motivating. I want to do things that are going to boost my identity. I don't want to do things that are going to diminish myself, and comparison is the thief of all joy. So we got to get out of that. And that's exactly what happens a lot in social media. So take a step back and maybe take a day off. What do you think of that idea? You can always come back and rewatch the Daily Dish or replay it or whatever. Number 10 is to engage in role-playing games. I'm not so sure about this, but there's some people who that's kind of a thing, that they do this whole role-playing things, or like they'll go to do a mystery thing and have to take on a character. I have a girlfriend here who plays pickleball, and she's a lawyer, and she also is an actress, and she goes and she's on the stage. She was on Guys and Dolls. She was in another, Jersey Boys. This was just recently, and she's singing with a band and doing a bunch of stuff. How cool is that? Talk about shifting your identity, getting out of the box, doing something different. Shake it up. Because sometimes we need to be shaken up. Because do you ever look at yourself and go, you know what, I'm boring. I need something better to talk about other than my clogged sink and the traffic the other day, or how awful the weather is. Interesting, right? What if you challenge yourself to do some of these things? What do you think about that? And then the last one that I have for you, this is a really fun one, and I would encourage you to do this because I've made so many friends doing this, and that is to push yourself to have a conversation. Sometimes the person sitting next to you in an airplane could be the most interesting person. I have met so many people. I met a guy who was a NASCAR guy, and he wanted me to come and do a cooking demo over in NASCAR when I was living in Charlotte. Do you want to hear something? I put him in my phone. I'll text you, and then I forgot the guy's name, and I couldn't find him in my phone anymore. Never did follow up on that. But see how terrible that was? But what an opportunity. You don't know who you're sitting next to. Another time I sat next to this woman who had a profound impact on me, and just the work that she does with helping kids, get out of, she was a child psychologist, and she was taught, and she had a book, she had all kinds of stuff. And I just had an incredible conversation with her. But when we give ourselves this opportunity and the gift of a great conversation with somebody that we don't even know, have never met before, we open our world, and we open ourselves to seeing ourselves as a little bit different. Engage and be a part of and step outside of the box, because the world is full of rich insights. People are full of rich insights that you haven't even thought of before. When we stay doing the same thing, we're going to always identify with, oh, this is what I do and this is who I am. And I might be a little bit boring. Well, not for long. Not if you've decided to take a step outside of that box and to understand that no one ever grew in a comfy little box. We got to get out of it. That's what I got for you today. Tomorrow, we're going to keep going on this identity stuff. You ever had an identity crisis? Well, maybe tomorrow we'll fix it. I hope so. Anyway, I appreciate you so much for being here. Remember, the announcements are always available for you at savingdinner.com/announcements. Got a lot going on. I really want you to get signed up for next Monday's webinar. All of that information is detailed at savingdinner.com/announcements. I will see you on Tuesday. Pinkies up. Peace be with you. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.